Okay, I'm going to start with a pretty wild idea. What if I told you that you're not experiencing this moment live? Like right now. What if your entire perception of reality is actually a memory? Today, we're going to explore a theory that completely flips the script on consciousness, and it suggests your whole reality is basically an instant replay.
So really think about this for a second. As you're watching this, listening to my voice, are you experiencing it all in real time? Is this, a live broadcast from the world straight to your brain?
Well, believe it or not, according to some really fascinating memory research, the answer is a hard no. What you think is the present moment, it's not live. It's an instant replay, pieced together by your brain just a fraction of a second after things actually happen. So yeah, your reality is a memory. And to understand how that's even possible, we first need to take a look at how memory actually works. Okay, so it all kicks off with this really key distinction that scientists make. Turns out, our brains are running on two totally different memory systems. There's the one we're all familiar with, and then there's another one that's just humming along quietly in the background. So, on one hand, you've got your implicit memory. This is all the unconscious stuff, right? The things that happen on autopilot. Skills, habits, all those associations you don't even think about. And then, on the other hand, you have explicit memory. This is what we usually mean when we say memory. The facts, the events, the stuff you can actually consciously bring to mind and talk about. All right, let's make this super clear with a few examples. Look at riding a bike. You don't consciously think about every little twitch and balance adjustment, right? It just happens. That's your implicit system doing all the heavy lifting. But now think about trying to remember your first day of school. You have to actively search for that memory. You have to try to pull it up. That conscious effort, that's the telltale sign of the explicit memory system. And honestly, getting this difference is the key to unlocking this whole idea. Okay, so how does all this get us back to that instant replay reality we talked about? Well, this is where we bring in the main event, a really cool idea called the memory theory of consciousness. Now, this theory, it's pretty radical. It basically says that the part of your brain that handles explicit memory, the part that remembers facts and what you did last weekend, isn't just a recording device. No, it's the projector. It's the very same system that literally creates every single conscious experience you have. Your perceptions, your thoughts, even your dreams. It's all coming from there. I love this quote because it just nails the core idea. All the information flooding in from your senses, everything you see, hear, and touch, it all gets processed unconsciously first. It's only after your explicit memory system has grabbed all that raw data, packaged it up, and stuck it all together that you finally become aware of it. It feels instant, but it's not. It's actually a memory of a moment that just passed. And here's the wild part. We can actually measure this delay. It takes somewhere between 350 and 500 milliseconds. We're talking about up to half a second for all that sensory info to get bundled up into what you experience as right now. So your entire conscious reality is basically lagging about half a second behind the real world. Mind-boggling, right? So this idea that our conscious mind is always playing catch-up, it has some huge implications. And there's no better place to see the raw power of our unconscious brain at work than when we look at one of the most mysterious things we do every day, sleep. You might think your brain just shuts off when you sleep, but nope, it's anything but quiet. It's busy doing this super important job called consolidation. I like to think of it like your brain has this little librarian working the night shift, It's silently filing away all the info from your day, beefing up the important memories, and connecting them to everything you already know. And the really crucial part, this gigantic, complex process is all happening completely outside of your awareness. Okay, so if all that's happening unconsciously, then what in the world is a dream? Well, according to this theory, a dream is basically what you get when your brain's storyteller, that's our old friend, the explicit memory system, just grabs a handful of random pieces from that huge, chaotic storm of unconscious activity and tries its best to stitch them into some kind of story. A dream, really, is just the conscious tip of a massive unconscious iceberg. Just think about that contrast for a second. The real work, the memory consolidation, that's happening unconsciously across your entire brain. It's like having 1,000 browser tabs open at once, all processing information. But a dream, that's just one single browser window, one linear story that you experience consciously. It's really just a side effect of the main show. All right, so this isn't just some abstract theory about dreams and perception. This idea has some really profound real-world consequences for how we experience our waking lives, for our very sense of who we are, and even for how we might treat certain neurological conditions. Here's the bottom line. If consciousness is really just a product of our memory system, then our entire identity is built on that foundation. I mean, the only reason you wake up feeling like the same person who went to bed last night is because your explicit memory is constantly stitching together your past and your present, creating this continuous story of you. And you can see just how devastating it is when that system starts to break down. Take a patient with Alzheimer's disease. If they travel and wake up in a hotel room they don't recognize, their memory might not be able to pull up the memory of the journey. That conscious link between past and present is just gone. They can't connect yesterday to today, and the result is this deeply confusing and scary feeling of being lost in time. Their instant replay is broken. But this understanding also opens up some incredible doors. If all this important work is happening unconsciously while we're asleep, what if we could, strategically influence it? Well, researchers are already doing exactly that. There's this technique called targeted memory reactivation, or TMR. Here's how it works. They have people learn to associate things, like, say, an image of a cat at a very specific spot on a screen, and they pair it with a meow sound. Simple enough. Then, while the person is napping, the scientists quietly play some of those sounds, and the kicker? When they wake up, they have zero memory of hearing anything, but their recall for where those specific images were located is way, way better. I mean, that's just incredible, right? It's actual proof that we can tap into the brain's hidden nighttime work to get real, measurable benefits when we're awake. All that unconscious activity during sleep, it isn't just random noise. It's actively shaping who you are and what you're capable of doing tomorrow. So that leaves us with a pretty big final thought to chew on. If your entire conscious reality is just an instant replay created by your memory, and if that very same memory system is being edited and updated every single night while you sleep, well then, who you are isn't some fixed thing. It's more like a story that's being rewritten night after night. So the real question is, who are you becoming tonight?